Hello, I'm Jeffrey K. Holkins. I'm joined by Eric Benson, aka Azerbaijan. We have got
that one time.
That one
freaking time.
It has endured. It has endured. I need you to be strong. Today we have got a bunch of cool shit that we're going to try to put together. First things first. We are actually going to physically put all of the ingredients together into the Pico Brew Zymatic, and we are going to brew the War Priest. You might have seen my tweets over the weekend where I sort of covered, like secondarily, like jumping onto your midnight brew train.
Yeah, listen, some nights you just feel the need to brew.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I saw you there brewing and drinking, which is like the classic scenario.
Yeah.
Well, you might not know this. So brewing, I mean, you're like, well, Jerry, I know that brewing and drinking have a correlation just statistically.
Oddly enough. I don't know why.
But it isn't about order. It isn't like you brew and then drink. You know, typically speaking, the drinking occurs throughout.
Yeah.
And then it culminates in an orgy of alcohol at bottling, right? When you finally tap it and check it out.
Your magnum opus is
exactly.
Oh, hey,
throwaway image. Thank you so much. Hey, so like I say, here, is this like culinarily? Is this the combo?
I got it.
I've been hiding it now.
Cheers.
The crabs are massive now. So.
And they're squishy.
We might need hops to fix it.
Okay, speaking of which.
Yeah.
In the words of the immortal Charlie Papazian, first step of homebrewing is relax and have a homebrew.
Oh, that's a quote?
That's a quote. Famous quote. But since we don't have any homebrew right now, I picked up one of our favorite beers.
Oh, it is.
One of our favorite breweries, Fremont Lush IPA. You want to talk about that a little?
So, obviously it's a local place. So if you're coming into town for PAX West specifically, it would be very difficult to go there if you went to any of the other PAXs, especially PAX Oz. That would be the most challenging Fremont brewing scenario for you. So for a long time, they're sort of like a local ship of the line. Fremont Brewing is very good. They've built up fast, and I think this is probably the best IPA they have.
God, it smells delicious.
I know. Now, you might be better able to talk about the specific hop loadout.
I actually don't know what's in it, but we can see if we can find out.
We can investigate it, but basically it's like bright fruit. And then this is the other thing that you'll find, and I want to apologize.
Yeah, they don't actually have it.
I know, right? I was looking at it yesterday. Yeah. Something that happens a lot, and I want to apologize just ahead of time, is that a lot of the words that you would use to describe hops, Fisk, thank you so much. A lot of the words that you would use to describe hops tend to be the same words that you would use to describe weed, and this is not.
Yeah, it totally is. It totally is. I mean,
This is not us. Like, we did not make this up. People talk about hops. They use the term dank. It's not me. You know what I mean? Talking about piney. Like, basically, it's exactly the same descriptions, like almost adjective for adjective.
Yes, exactly.
As if you're going to Weedly and looking at a map and trying to figure out strains. You're gonna get hooked up on a lot of the same types of stuff.
Yeah.
But the main thing is here.
Cheers.
Let's put it up. So why don't you crack down sort of what we're looking at here, what we're going to put together in here, and then the arc for the show, of course, is that we're going to load up the Pico, we're going to get everything set up over there, and then what's up?
No. White Fry. When can we expect crab beer?
Listen, we have to.
Dank Life, Dank
Life, exactly. No, remember the K is silent, so it's Dang Life, I guess.
Yeah, Dang Life.
But here's the takeaway, right? We're gonna go over here, and we're gonna fill this up, and it's actually gonna be running and brewing while we're doing the rest of the show, and then we're gonna be talking to you about what we should do next. Are we gonna do, because the War Priest is more or less about Omin Dran.
Right.
Do we wanna do an Omin Dran beer that is something that would exist in world as an artifact? Or do we want to choose a new character like Viari or Morgaine or somebody from the C team that we can investigate and try to put together a recipe in that context? But it's, as you saw last week, it's not super challenging if you have a friend that knows a ton of stuff. and if you yourself are enthusiastic about beer.
Yeah.
So why don't you pass it over to the overhead camera, and you can show some of our crazy tools.
So guys, the first thing we want to do in this entire process, or actually one, is clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness, right?
It's a classic
term.
Yeah.
But this is what we have. It's called Star San. It's a low pH acid.
Yeah. So anybody who has done any brewing knows this term.
Exactly. What you do is you put an ounce of this into 5 gallons of water, and then anything that's going to touch the beer after it's been cooled down, you need to have cleaned off in this Star San. Because you just don't want your beer to get infected. Infection can happen, and it can happen quick. So we've been soaking a lot of the equipment already in this pail back here in the Star San. But the first thing we do is, this is our yeast. And we got the yeast packets. There's a couple different ways yeast come. It's either in these smack packs, it'll come in little tubes, or dried up.
Yeah, I've only ever used packets.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different methods, and it's just whatever you like to do. So these packets generate 1 billion yeast cells, or 100 billion yeast cells. For War Priest, after our calculations, we know we need 144 billion. So we'll use 2 of them just to get it up to snuff. There's another method of making a yeast culture the night before.
Oh, right. You're gonna mix it up and let it go. In the same way that you would on a yogurt culture or something like that. Like you just let it run.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. You basically get an Edelmeyer flask, fill it with a little bit of wort.
So you basically get
and throw in a pack.
Yeah, you get some mad scientist type shit.
Exactly, and it's just fermenting overnight and creates about 200 to 300 billion cells overnight. But we don't have to do that. We just bought 2 of these. So we want these, by the time we're ready to pitch, we want these puffed up. And inside of here, there's a little packet, a nutrient packet.
Oh, for the yeast?
Yeah. So what we have to do is break that and let it go in, and the yeast will soak it up. And so what you need to do...
You try to find it inside there?
Yeah, you just push all of it down so it kind of gets it in the corner.
Yeah.
Now put it in your hand and then just go boof, and just smack the shit out. Kind of like you're smacking one of the old ketchup... Remember when you...
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Yeah, so get it in the corner, try and smooth it down into that corner, and then just literally give it a smack.
This is how it comes to be known as the smack pack.
Yeah, this is how I get yeast all over me.
I'm so afraid that...
All right, cool. Now shake it and put it up to your ear. You should hear some sizzling if the pack got...
Sizzling?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it...
So the nutrients are now mixing with the yeast and creating a reaction.
Yeah, you're not fucking kidding. These are going ham.
Yeah.
All right.
Now do it one more time.
Right. And so this is the American ale yeast that we chose specifically because there was 2 options, and we chose this one specifically because it imparted a nutty flavor on the back end. And so it matters a lot, Yep,
shake it up.
Shake it like you want.
Shake it like a
Polaroid picture. So we put it over here. Now, the yeast imparts, there's a bunch of things about the beer that is, functionally speaking, the result of the yeast.
Yeah.
And so if you ever get into Belgian ales or things like that, and you start, fucking around with that shit, it gets weird fast. So this is nutty, smooth, like the American ale yeast.
Walk down the flowery road, not too crazy.
Exactly. This is the part of the roller coaster where it is chanka,
exactly
up the chain, right?
Yeah.
When you start talking about Belgian yeast, let me just give you a few of the names that they associate with that yeast. We're talking about bubblegum, clove, right?
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. Banana, odd, exactly, but fruity, fruity, tangy flavors.
Absolutely.
That are all the result of your collaboration with these tiny beasts.
Right. But what's really cool is you could take, there is nothing saying you couldn't take that Belgian yeast and put it into War Priest. There's nothing saying you can't do that. No. It would just produce a whole different flavor.
Exactly.
And that's what's really neat about brewing is you can mix all of these products. You're not tied down.
No.
We're just going for a traditional way of making this IPA.
Exactly. And so obviously when you're talking about specific styles, there are rules, conceptual rules about what what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Right. But
you can blow those out of the water.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can come up with anything you want, which is a big part of the show. Like, the main thing I want you to come away from Acquisitions Intoxicated with is that this is a human cultural heritage, and it's your heritage also.
Yeah.
So this is actually something that you can do as well.
Right.
Right. So why don't you break it down?
So next thing we do, we got to add the grains to our bucket. You want to grab that bucket out of there?
Yep. Okay, well here, let me scoot over our tools here.
Let's get this right in so people can see the grains as we pull them out.
Yeah, so you might have seen the device before. We showed it off, up and behind me there. But take a look at this. So there's a couple different pieces we have here. This is the top case, and so you can see on here the different holes that it has. And obviously this is us using this specific brew apparatus. When you do it at home, there's other brew apparatuses
there's
like
so many
this.
different, yeah.
Yeah, and so Kickstarter has brought a bunch of devices like this to life. This is just the one that I'm using. It's not necessarily an endorsement of any kind, but it is one path to simplifying and streamlining a lot of the processes that go in. So these holes here in the top of this container, they are there because inside the device there's a fluid arm, sort of like a crane game. Yeah. It sort of moves around in there, and so typical brewing is about introducing ingredients at specific times. Right. And so, especially when it comes to hops, like we talked about last week, some of these hops you want for the boil. You want them in the whole time. Some of these hops you want to add later because what you're trying to get out of them is aroma. And so you don't want those exposed to the harsh boil the entire time.
Exactly.
Right? So we'll grab this lid, put this bad boy over here. This particular device, as I've suggested, has these screens here that are designed to keep grains and other particulate out of the pump and out of the tanks. And then I'll set this over here. And then back here are the hop cages. So this is where you put your hops. And then on this device, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, like I say, those are all analogous to when you would try to add them during it. But of course, programmatically, that's something we have control over on the back end.
What's utterly amazing.
Exactly. And so we can show you, like, if you want to nerd out a little bit, here's the deal. Basically, when it comes to how we're adding the hops and the software on the back, it really is just a web page. And then this device is, the guts of it are basically like a custom Arduino implementation. And so it has a Wi-Fi module on it. This device signs into that same account you use to put the recipe in. And so, you may not be able to see it all the way up close from the camera, but War Priest is just a menu item on here because over the weekend, because he is very nice, Eric basically...
I just like to brew beer.
Yeah, he ran through an entire brew process of War Priest. And what is your review now? So it's going wild. That krausen or foam is coming up on the top.
What was amazing, what was really neat to see, and guys, you'll see this too as we go through the process, was to immediately see the color that came off of the grains. It was that dark, beautiful color that we wanted, and I was like, oh my God, this is perfect.
But it's entirely possible that once we get this shit popping in here, you'll have a chance to see a lot of that process too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so remember this color of the IPA, right? And this is a normal IPA color.
Yep.
Now you'll get to see how dark the War Priest actually is.
Exactly, because to maintain the D&D metaphor, essentially we're multi-classing beers here.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
We're adding some of these chocolate malts.
Yeah.
And not a lot. So when you look at it, like I know on the tweets, people are like, God damn, that looks dark. And it's like, no, it's not. It didn't actually, like, flavor-wise, it's going to have some coffee and chocolate, but it's
not a lot.
No, and the hopping is not stout or porter hopping.
Right. It's very much like like 7 levels of Priest and then 2 levels.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to get some feats.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Just a touch. But anyhow, marvelous. Marvelous. Let's move ahead. I'll let you run it.
So how about you grab those grains?
Grains.
This is a mixture of all the grains we picked, which was 2-row. We had some Maris Otter, some caramel, and Carafa 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you? Smell that deliciousness in there. Oh. It's unreal.
It really is delicious. I guess it's like the cooking show, like when you're watching the cooking show.
I know.
You can't taste it or smell it, but I want you to know.
This smells great, right?
But essentially, we're talking about just like rich cereal smells that go along with this plant that we have evolved alongside.
Exactly.
Like there is something about this that wants you to scoop it up in your hands
eat the shit out of it.
and just fucking eat it.
Yeah.
But there is one difference between what we have in here and what we showed you on the last show.
Right.
So those were whole grains, right? And when you're actually going into a beer context, you grind those.
Yes.
You basically you crank those through a hand grinder.
Yep. Through a mill, and it just breaks open the husks and the shells.
Yes,
of the grains.
It's purely about surface area.
Yep.
Because our task up front, before we do anything else, before these yeasts begin to do our bidding in the fermenter, what we're really trying to do is get as much fucking sugar out of this as we can, right?
You can pour it
The
right
brew
in.
dork word for that is efficiency.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And these will fit because you did this already, right? Now, I have seen brewers brew in bags.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. There is a way to brew called brew in a bag.
Yeah.
And you'll literally just take all of your grains, soak them in essentially what's a preheated mash, and it does pretty much the same concept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's
just it's an easier way, a smaller way for home brewers specifically to get into all grain brewing instead of having to buy the whole setup.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
But and also for cleanup, it's pretty straightforward
Yeah,
too. You just
the bag
grab the
out
whole
and
fucking thing and toss it.
Absolutely. So check out these grains. I mean, this is just, that's absolutely, see all the different colors that we mixed in there?
Exactly. Now, so take a look at the color of this, of our little grain festival here, right? This does not look dark. Right?
No, it doesn't.
No, but every now and then
you can see a couple flecks of that black, the Carafa 3 in there. That's really going to give that dark color, but there's so little of it.
Exactly. So this is going to be cool beans. All right, so grains are in. We throw in top screen.
Yep. Now we got to do the hops.
Indeed. And here's these bad boys here.
We have to measure out hops. Once again,
The right volume.
looks like you're doing something with weed. Not so much.
Well, yeah. Again, this whole thing has a very clandestine
right.
vibe, right?
But we are in the great state of Washington, and
Indeed.
it doesn't matter.
Indeed.
So, let's zero out our scale. I got the scale on there. Okay. So we know our first addition is going to be our bittering hops.
Which for us,
That's going to be the Columbus.
well, I was going to say, and in some ways we know that it's the Columbus, right?
Yeah.
Because we can take a look here and see that the alphas on this are bonkersville.
Yeah, it's through the roof.
Right.
Where the holler toe is
Half. Basically,
Yeah.
right? So how much do we need of this?
So we need 0.75 ounces.
Okay.
Get a whiff of that because that stuff smells absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I was going to say, so this is, yeah, I mean, it's dank. Okay? There's not another
Dan grass.
There is not another word for it. It is weird and moist in a way. Very much Uncle's basement type scenario here. So we're looking for 0.75?
Yep, get up to 0.75.
Fucking collaborate with me, you pieces of shit.
Little further. Little further. Oh.
No, because I keep touching it, right?
Yeah. You
son of a
little
bitch.
over.
Not you. I'm talking to these plants
Damn right.
for some reason, because they know.
Because they'll listen.
Yeah.
I think you're good. Yeah, there you go. Ah, now you're under.
Son of a... God damn you, plants. Why won't you be a part of this process?
This is like revenge from the Myconids.
It is. I'm being made to suffer.
Ah, right on the dot.
You see this shit? Oh, maybe you can't see it. I'm here to tell you right now, it says exactly the right number. All right, here. No, so as a bittering hop, that's going to be in first.
That's going to be in first. That goes for the whole boil.
Mm-hmm.
The longer a hop is in the boil, the more bitterness it's going to extract, or it's going to, impart into the flavor.
Oh, dank though.
Right?
Okay, so you get in there.
Yep.
You sons of bitches.
Okay, so now the next three we're going to do. So when we originally set up this recipe.
Exactly. So go into this, because this is a reality of brewing, right?
We went with Pacifica. Unfortunately, I went around and called every homebrew store in Seattle.
Yeah.
Nobody had Pacifica. And it was just a little too late to order some from Northern Brewer.
Exactly, but this is an important thing, right? Especially if you want to go local.
Exactly.
It's like coffee beans. So that's something else that we do, and we could easily do a coffee.
I think we should.
We could do a coffee roasting stream as well. It could be that one of these characters drinks is actually coffee, or coffee would be required for their brew. That's another way to think of it.
Trevor's just like drinking coffee because he's so tired.
Exactly, just exhausted.
Like, fuck this.
Help a brother out. And so, but these are plants.
Yeah.
Like, they are crops, and they have seasonality like anything else.
You can only get some at a certain amount of times, depending on how much was harvested, what they were able to pelletize, all different reasons. But we found there are replacements or substitutes you can usually get for every single hop.
Right.
Now, for Pacifica,
it's kind of weird.
Yeah. You can use a Hallertau hop. They're very similar. But what I found was Hallertau Blanc, which gives these awesome passion fruit, grapefruit, citrusy flavors that we really wanted to come off the end. So, and it has the alpha acid of 8.8, which we were really looking for in that range.
It's got to compete.
So, the next three chambers we're going to fill will be our flavor, which is going to be at a 10-minute boil.
Yeah.
And then the aroma, which comes in at 5 minutes, and then
flame out
at 0. It's a finishing hops where we get just tons and tons of flavor.
Exactly, but I'm saying that. But this is dork stuff, but it's the best kind of dork stuff. So we are using Hallertau Blanc for 3 separate hop phasing, right? And the fact of the matter is that at each of these thresholds, right? Each one of those thresholds, the same hop is going to mean something else as a taste, right? I don't know. I love that type of shit.
Yeah, it's so.
So what are we doing for cage 2?
All right, so pop it on. Let's zero that piece out.
Is this yours from home?
Yeah.
I think it's got some shit in it, man.
Hey, sometimes you got to get dirty.
You gotta get filthy.
Real.
Here, so come over here. Filthy hop tray.
All right, so now we're doing, for each of these additions, it's going to be a ½ ounce.
Oh, just each time?
Yep.
And how much is in each of these?
There's about 1 ounce in each.
Okay, perfect.
So we'll have to go up to I'm really just making them do all this so I can drink the beer.
No, go to work. Oh, if somebody had a question, oh my gosh.
Smells great, right?
What is this?
Smells absolutely amazing, doesn't it?
Jesus. That is out of fucking
Kairos,
control.
it does feel a little bit like some alchemy, right? Like we're literally using science to create science. It's a mixture of science and art, which is really cool, which is what I like about brewing.
Yeah, right. So obviously they're both tangy.
Yeah.
I would say that there's definitely something dank in each case.
Right, but in that
case,
you
no,
can smell
that's
grapefruit,
like
citrus.
That's the fucked up thing about this.
That's amazing.
Guys,
I am so excited to use these hops.
But they're fresh.
Yeah.
Like the tastes. It isn't like a candy version or like a euphemized version.
No.
It smells like a fresh version of the fruit.
Exactly.
Right. All right, here. So looking for half.
Yep. Give it a half.
Oh, and if anybody had any questions about the beers that we are coming after, maybe you showed up a little bit late, which I respect 100%. Thanks for rolling through.
Eric the Mad, we're drinking Fremont Lush IPA. It's super good, and if you can get your hands on it, it's definitely worth a try.
That's the key. Trying to find it on tap can be a challenge. Bottlings of it disappear very quickly. –
Yeah, I agree, Chainsaw. Drinking in Fremont is a fun time.
I'm gonna have to go for
$4.99. Wait, I don't know. Are you gonna dare it? Right now, it's five.
Kid, I don't fuck around.
Damn.
And so also that means that this is an ounce, so I can just dump that in the next tray, right?
Yep. Oh, the St. Brian. That's a really good question. What food would pair well with War Priest?
Well, let's see.
This is an which is super interesting because it's an IPA, which you would normally have with, sandwiches or a fruit board, a charcuterie board or something like that, right? But for me, I think a really good burger would go with.
Well,
War
exactly,
Priest.
because the malt spine of it is vast.
Yeah, exactly. But then you have that really great aftertaste. Little bit. Get it?
I am addicted to.
Damn!
How do I do it?
That's 5 on the dot.
God, I'm a sandwich artist. All right, that's 3.
Yep.
Come back in for number 4. All right, friend. Now, tell me about hops, because we got another half. God, I'm hooked on it.
Oh, it's delish, right?
But I'm saying we have another half.
Chainsaw, I agree. The War Priest pairs well with meat.
No, it pairs well with foes.
It just, just get a plate of bacon and life is good, right?
Just when you go to the restaurant, order a meat, and they'll bring it out.
Master Creamin', I did not know that hops and cannabis are part of the same flowering plant family.
Well, that explains fucking everything.
Oh, that's really cool. Furay, we are building up the War Priest right now, and
Indeed.
we're we're almost ready to put it right into the Pico. Yeah, Shiny, we're working on getting drunk.
All right. Trey.
Suburban Druid, best quote of the day. All the bacon and eggs you have.
Yeah, exactly.
We're on Swanson.
So we're good. Trey, done.
Shifting bits, yes. You can do dry hopping with this. You're going to do it after post boil.
You do it in the fermenter.
In your fermenter. So yeah.
Yep. You'll basically, you'll star san up sock, throw in the hops, and toss it into the cold fermenter.
Now, there's other things you can put into your boil that are adjuncts that we don't need to use for War Priest. There's stuff that'll take a lot of the proteins out of it. That'll clarify your beer.
Yeah.
There's a product called Irish Moss, which most brewers will know, home brewers know.
Oh, sure.
You put it in about 10 minutes towards the end of the boil.
Yeah, it's a clarifier, and it is
a clarifier.
Moss.
It grabs all of the proteins that are floating around in the beer because of the hops.
Yep, and it brings them down.
And it drops them out of suspension.
And you can also crash beers with a cold temp.
You
right?
crash beers right when you're about to carbonate them, and it does the same exact thing. But what's really great about the Pico is that all of your hops are in these mesh cages, so that reduces the amount of those proteins that get out.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can add that right into the Pico.
All right, can do. Ooh, it's heavier now.
Yeah.
That it has objects in it.
Weird.
I know. This smells so fucking
Delicious,
good.
right?
God. All right.
So now we got to add water to our
Tank. Right?
So you want to go grab that tank over there?
Yeah, sure.
And the water. I mean, we actually could just do it.
Okay. And then you need what? 3 gallons?
3.5. So yeah, grab those 2. Actually, grab all 4, I guess.
Oh, yeah, totally. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so all we got to do, add the water to the kegel.
The kegel? No, that's not it. Hey, and where's the keg lid?
It's all being sanitized.
Oh, it's sanitized in the back.
Yep.
Smooth.
And actually what we'll do right now is we'll put the yeast, because we just want to sanitize this as well.
Just the bags?
Just to have the bags just in case.
Mm-hmm. Blub, blub, blub. Okay. And so then we'll need this one and then half of the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll grab this one.
All right.
Or not.
Nice. Nailed it.
There might be, if we want to branch out from Acquisitions Intoxicated, there might be an ASMR play.
Could be.
Where we just pour water into varying sizes of container.
Yeah, I think it might work.
Consider it.
You never know. People might love it.
So put about a half in there.
Yeah, we'll throw a half of this in.
And then depending on where you are, depending on where you live, like at least in Seattle, it's fairly well recognized that you can brew straight out of the tap at home.
Most places you can, but a lot of us super beer nerds will go and get our tap water tested to see everything that's in it.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you can take different salts and minerals and add it to reflect the...
I think you might be good here.
Yeah, that's good.
I was going to mention that. It's the only thing that we didn't bring up is that there is a certain level, like when you get like 5th level as a brewer, there's a certain level at which you start adding minerals, like customizing the water. And I'm not there yet.
We'll get you there. It's fun. You customize the water because a lot of these brew styles originated, from all around the world.
Right.
And they originated because of the difference in their water.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The local water is like a terroir thing, right?
Yeah. So that's why you could brew a Belgian here, and it might not taste exactly the same.
Right. Even
though you're using the same recipe, because you have a different water.
Exactly.
And different
minerals.
Eric,
what are you doing with this device?
So this thing is really cool. For the way we're using the Pico is the brewing, the mash, and we'll get into the mash and everything in a second.
Yeah.
And the boil all happens in this corny keg.
Exactly. So you might put beer in a corny keg to serve it.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, corny kegs aren't used for the entire brew process.
No, I've only seen it with the Pico.
Yeah.
But there are other I think automatic brew setups that use it as well.
Exactly. So you're throwing in some anti-foam agent.
Yeah. So the Pico creates a little bit of foam when it's going through this process. And they've created this device to stop that and rectify it. And we just throw in some anti-foaming agent on top here.
And that tracks with your experience at home doing the test brew?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And we'll throw it right onto the corny/fermenter. You want to bring that over to...
Yeah, exactly.
And hook it on in.
Okay, so on the Pico anyway, the black goes to the out.
Yep. That's on most cornies as well.
Yeah.
Did it clip in?
See, these are both kind of.
Yeah,
there we go.
Gunky. There we go.
There we go. I'll get this one going.
Yeah, and just cool. Bit popping down.
Let's see. Here you go.
There you go. Yeah, it gets a little gunked up.
Oh, there's some wort.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Clip in.
We have Warpriest. See, so there's Warpriest, which was our original.
Yeah.
Now we have Warpriest V1, which has the hollow toe.
Which has the new hop that we had to replace. Yet. Okay.
So, Amy Falcone.
Amy the Falcon. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Thanks so much. All right, so Warpriest V1 with the addition of the Hallertau Blanc as opposed to the Pacifica. That's what we're making today.
And all you gotta do is press the go button.
Love it. Me? Is it mine? All right.
Yeah, it's your beer.
All right, preparing for brew. Just throw all your filth under
Get all the
there.
garbage out of the way.
All right. Now, do you want to talk about this device at all?
Let's talk about, so once all of this process happens, actually we can show, let's get all this junk out of here.
Yeah.
Once everything's done, we have to go through the process of cooling the wort down for it to pitch the yeast in. How cool is that? That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, so go ahead and talk about the chiller, and then talk about the differences here between this product and then, like what you've done before.
So we have to cool the wort down because it's going to be boiling. We got to cool the wort down to about 70 degrees before we can pitch our yeast in, so as to not kill the yeast cells. So there's a couple ways to do that.
Oh, but emphasize that specific part, because I find that kind of interesting. I mean, the main reason that we have to cool it down is because the alternative, I mean, basically we've boiled it like that to purify it.
Yes, to get all of any bad yeast or any bad infectious materials
Functionally
out of it.
speaking, we are trying, it's like the Merovingian or something. We are trying to determine the winner in a microbiological war.
Exactly.
And the way we prepare the ground is to boil the fuck out of this shit.
Yeah, just
like up to 200 degrees.
207 to be
right?
exact. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, but that same battlefield will annihilate our chosen successor.
Exactly.
So
we have to add it back in. Now, there's 3 ways that you go about it. Usually, when you first start home brewing, you put the hot wort in a bucket of ice cold water or in your bathtub to cool it off.
Indeed.
Then you might upgrade to this, which is a
harder core. Now, I mean, again, like this is. I have not taken this step in my personal brew journey.
Yeah, I'm just a nerd and love.
I haven't done this part.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is an immersion chiller, which you would put right in the wort, and you're going to run cold water through the copper tubing, and the cold water is just going to suck
all the heat out
of that
maximum
wort.
Surface area. That's what the coil's
because science.
Right.
Now, my favorite way to do it is to use this, which is called a plate chiller. Kind of the same thing as the coil.
Oh, it's layers of copper.
It's layers of copper plates that has both an import and an outport for wort and the water. And this chills your beer from 200 degrees down to 70 degrees in a matter of 5 minutes. That's how amazing it is. This will take about 20 minutes, and the cold bath takes about 40 minutes.
Yeah, and then
which is fine. I mean, all of them are fine.
Yeah, more or less, that's the experience that I have had is with the bath.
But the reason we want to do this is because the quicker we can get it to pitching temperature, the more of those proteins, it's called cold break, will drop out, and it provides for a clearer beer.
Verbal Hero. So Verbal Hero, a plate chiller fan in the house.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, listen. So what's next, right? So now this motherfucker's going to work.
So now, I mean,
what was I going to say? So what's happening right now? And the heat in there has already started to bring, like the grain, like the smell of the grain out into the room.
Yeah.
So basically, it's it's going to crank the water temp up to 102. Right now, it's at 86.
Yep.
That heat. So basically, it's cycling water through the pump and out into our corny keg, which is in this case is our brew tank.
Yep.
And once it hits that, it is going to start introducing the water to the grains, extracting the sugar that our chosen successor, the Yeast Smack Pack, Smack Pack is going to take and transform into something rad. All right, so hey, we'll just let it do its work.
Yep.
What are we doing next?
So we can do a couple things.
Yeah.
Do we want to make another Omin beer stream or beer with the stream, or do we want to move on to Sir Jim Dark Magic?
Yeah. Well, here, let's figure it out. So what do we think? Hey, Josh, what was that poll? It was PB?
It's poll.ma.pe.
Gotcha. I'll go in there and I'll toss you some poll stuff you can throw into the page. But, so what are we thinking? I know that there are many fans, obviously, of one James Dark Magic. But our roster is deep. Like, there's all kinds of great characters. There's C-Team possibilities, but I think that if we're going to do a C-Team stream, the funnest way to do that might be to actually bring them in.
I agree. Amy, you could always come in and
Exactly.
say hi.
When I talked
Donner's
to,
always in the office.
Indeed. I talked to Kate,
Yeah.
and Kate really wants to experiment with spirits.
And we can do that too.
Something I think might be fun for the Kate stream when we start approaching the Rosie. Old Fashioned is the funniest name for the Rosie stream already, but for her, it might be fun to experiment with something like a barrel-aged cocktail.
Yeah.
Put something together here, come up with it with Kate, get it going.
I agree.
Bring her back in a month or so after it's had a chance to hang out in there.
Yeah, and Old Fashions are my favorite alcoholic spirits, so I know a little bit about that. I can attest.
Yes.
So.
That is very, very much that's a Brenna production as well. Yeah. So I'm definitely
Mr. Dark Magic.
Viaria vodka. I like that. Oh, sweet yeasty.
What?
Sweet yeasty. Yeah, grape. I mean, I've been thinking about. I have 100% been thinking about different types of approaches to a gym. In fact,
Yeah, we went through one.
We
We
have
could-
sketched out a few different choices.
But we could actually bring the stream through that process. So we thought, let's do a Dunkelweizen for Jim Dark Magic because it's a dark beer, but it's also sweet, like with the ladies, right? So I think it's one of the perfect Jim beers.
Well, it's not. It is an approachable beer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's different ways to think about it. I like, we want it to be dark. We want it to be dark magic. Obviously, that would be the best name for it.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Dark Magic's Dark Magic is about as Jim as it gets. Right?
Yeah.
Tall, pale, and weak beer. I like this. That is very, very good. Bob the Ninja Goldfish, listen up. We are exactly the same on this topic. Cider will 100% get made on this stream.
Yep.
Kombucha, 100% get made on the stream. We could even do a wine if we needed to, but the aging would mean that maybe we have to come back for season 2 to actually drink it. But my feeling is that, there are dark beers like a stout or like a porter, right? But my feeling is that those don't represent Jim at all.
No.
It has to be fun and playful.
Fun, playful, sweet, in flavor.
Exactly. Like that's the thing in general about German beers.
Right.
Like my experience with these beers is that they're world class and they're hopped. They're approachable in a way that for whatever reason, like the Northwest IPA has reached a level of self-parody, I think, in a way. Like, I don't want to be that dude. Like, I like massive IPAs, don't get me wrong, but now it seems like some kind of meta game.
Yeah, you're kind of, there's just only so much you can kind of do, right? But if we take the Dunkelweizen, it's almost a virtual playground of flavors that you put into the malts.
All right.
You're not worried so much about the hops, right? Because with an IPA,
well, especially a German-style beer.
Yeah.
I mean, malt is a big part of it.
Exactly.
And really, you tell me if I'm wrong. I might have just fucking made this up completely.
Totally wrong.
Right? You think so?
I don't know.
Oh, well, what we're talking about here is the situation where there is a lot of malt, and there's actually a lot of sugar in that malt that remains unprocessed because the ABV reaches a point where the yeast can't work anymore in the suspension, right?
Yep, and we can play around with that too, which is our metagame, totally metagame.
Well, listen, there'll be some liquor in this, Archer. Feel it. So here, let's go for the very first one, for the very first Jim beer. Let's do this. Let's do this Dunkel.
Yeah.
Right. But let's not use the one that we came up with before.
No, let's just bring it right through.
Let's just go head like top to bottom.
Yeah. So let's talk about how Dunkels are made. There are actual laws in Germany called the purity laws.
It's true. You're gonna love this. If you want to become a nerd about this shit in a second, listen to what this man has to say.
So in Germany, given the specific beer you're brewing, there is a certain requirement of the grains that have to go into each beer.
Well, yeah, and then also the ingredients in general. Like the beer can only be comprised, according to the ancient
That's
period
what I'm
law
saying.
anyway,
Yeah,
they can only be comprised of 4 ingredients.
Yep.
And so a lot of the shit that we get up to as a young nation
Yeah, would never fly.
would never fly. And in fact, I've had German friends come to the States and drink beers, and I'm like, hey, try this one. And they're like, what the fuck
Yeah.
are you doing? Like, why is there an apricot in this?
Right, but the other flip side of that coin is I have friends that are brewers and from Germany, and they have to. A lot of them use a brewing method called decoction mashing, where you take out.
Hold on. So decoction is actually the only time I've ever seen that word at all is from The Witcher.
Yeah.
What the hell is decoction?
So what you do is while this process is going on over here,
Yeah.
you're siphoning out some of the wort, and then you're cooking it, and then putting it back in. It's a process of caramelizing a certain amount of the wort, and then putting it back
it's like
in.
double duty. It's
Yeah.
almost in the same. It's like this is happening before, but it's like a secondary fermentation. But it's like running the process again to get more sugar.
Yep. Well, to give it a more caramelized flavor, because you're actually heating.
Yeah, you're actually heating the sugars
exactly.
in there. Wild.
So
okay, so is that what explains those rich, like that rich caramel sweetness in a lot of German beers?
Yeah, it's called melanoidin is the flavor you're thinking of. But now with modern grains, we can mimic that without doing that process.
Oh,
so I have friends,
like a Caramunic.
yeah, exactly. So I have friends that are brewers, and they're like, "Man, we wish we didn't have to do this method because we." So they're kind of stuck to these laws, which is both a double-edged sword.
Hold on, even home brewers?
Oh, not home brewers, but like the big breweries.
Oh, really? I didn't know those laws were still in effect.
In a sense, it
I
depends on how
suspect
much you want it.
it's
Tradition,
traditional,
right? Yeah,
right.
You're not going to get, So, when we look at a Dunkelweizen,
Yeah.
they are, if you go by the purity laws, they are 50% wheat, which could be could go up to 70% wheat. A lot of the rest of it is Munich, but we'll get to play around.
Oh, I mean, you mean when you say wheat, do you mean like
wheat malt. So, let's check it out here.
Is that distinct from the 2-row and other stuff you were talking about?
Yep.
It's like actually just a wheat?
Yep. So pale wheat, organic wheat, roasted wheat, there's all different kinds of wheat malts that we can go from. But let's say we'll take 4 pounds of wheat malt.
Oh, I should make it a point to mention to everyone that the water, the smell is incredible. So the water has already begun to soak these grains, and you can see right here in the tray underneath. Right now, it's the sort of like typical wort color, but we're gonna hit it. I can see it even here up front. This is gonna just get darker and darker down here in the base.
Yep. And what's happening right now at this temperature, it's called a protein rest. It's soaking the grains in order to expand them a little bit.
Oh, widen them.
Widen them so
Surface area.
Yeah, exactly. So when the mash comes in, you can extract more sugars.
Exactly.
It's all about efficiency.
Right. So ball out of control.
Okay,
Tell them about wheat.
Let's talk about another grain we can put in here.
Yeah.
Is Munich malt or Vienna. And
Right. Well, this would be classic. I mean, I know a little bit about Munich because I saw it last time.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Vienna malt.
let's check it out. Vienna. Vienna's obviously another German malt.
That's my suspicion.
It's closer, it's a little darker than pale malt, but it imparts a golden color to the beer.
Oh, so you would use it specifically for color?
Yeah. Well, no, it's also a base malt. It's going to give you...
It's going to give you sugars and all the classic stuff.
Yep. But let's try Munich. I don't want Caramunic just yet. Yeah. So what's really cool about Munich malt is it gives you that sweet flavor. It gives you a red color.
Ah.
So this is where it really comes into a Dunkelweizen. Is you're picking up all of the flavors you want and all of the color that you want.
Yes.
Now, what we can go to the stream with, if you got that poll.
Exactly. Well, what was that site again, Josh? I keep trying to find it and I can't find it. Poll.ma.
Poll.ma.pe.
MA. So can you smell it back there,
A little bit.
Josh?
Just a little bit.
It is incredible.
And what you'll need to do is, when you add questions to that, you need to send me
The link.
in there.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so what do you got?
So let's do a poll. Wow, that was excessive.
That was weird. Okay. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
What?
Anyway,
Anyways, so let's chat. What do you want? Do you want to make this beer a little more sweet and with a darker red color, or and use Munich malt, or do we want to use Vienna malt and make it a little crispier and a little lighter in color?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, exactly. If it's for Jim, it does have to be pretty. Now, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. I think that it has to be. I think that it has to be sweet. So does this require a sign in via Twitch, Josh?
I don't know.
You got cookies?
I don't think so.
Oh, Cookie
We
Boy.
got cookies. We got cookies from the Reinhardt. Good, right? Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. Have you never smelled the malt?
Oh, I used to.
Yeah.
On this level, not this.
Oh no! But check
at
this
how
out. So
dark
down
it's
at the
getting.
bottom, you can see it. The color's starting to come out. Isn't that cool?
Shit, that's awesome.
Right? It's all programmed in here.
Nom, 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 nom.
Oh no, it's coming. It's coming. All right, here's my poll question. It's like Jim Dark Magic. Sweet or what do we think about? What's the other option?
So it's going to be sweet and a little darker in color with a little bit of red tone, or a little crisp in flavor and a little lighter in color.
Okay.
Feisties, we can't do a color yet because we're going to be able to, after we figure out our base grains, we're then going to take it and put specialty grains in, which could make it even darker.
This is the coolest thing ever. So let me send you this link, Josh, and let's see if it works.
Okay.
Jim Dark Magic's Dank Magic. There we go.
What a great tool. What a great tool. But yeah. So this type of beer is not going to be dank in the classic sense because of the style we've chosen. Right now, Hidden in Trees, something that I am a fan of is when it comes to the Jim sort of archetype. Like it would be fun to go in and involve purple conceptually in it via a lavender or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I think if you made something that was very crisp and very light,
Right.
but approached it like with the lavender color. First of all, the color. Have you ever infused vodka with lavender?
yeah.
Let's say it is exquisite, and like I feel like a really nice lavender bitter or a lavender pilsner or something like that would be amazing.
Yeah, and there's nothing saying you could add that into your fermenter as
Afterward.
Afterwards, as it's almost like dry hopping.
Yeah, you just dry hop with an herb, right?
Yep.
Did you click start poll?
I will.
Go ahead and do that so I can see if it's actually there. It is. All right. Here we go. Oh. Wait, you do have to connect. Otherwise, how are people going to vote?
What's that, Josh?
I said you do have to connect it to the Penny Arcade account. Otherwise, people can't vote.
Oh, really?
Doesn't show up in chat.
Well, here, do you want to come grab this and sign into it?
Yep.
Okay, here you go. But that's super easy to use, Josh. I can put that to work, and I can put it to work on the Mythos Tales stream too. Yeah.
Is that it? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Oh, Clue's talking about adding purple corn.
Ah, that's cool.
Now that
Clues.
would
That's
be
a good
interesting.
idea.
So, but Clues, do you add the purple corn? Do you add the purple corn after the fact, or is that during boil? Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Josh is going to throw it up here in a sec.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's go in. So in terms of the malts, you want to wait for the second malt.
Yeah, let's figure out, well, we can do some other things while we're waiting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about other malts that we can bring into
exactly.
this.
But these
they're
smack
puffing
backs
up,
are starting
right?
to get tight.
Wait till you, like 2 hours from now when we go to pitch, they're usually plump and fresh. There's a couple different kinds of malts that we can use. I don't know if you guys can see this on the screen yet.
Yeah. Is the our monitor screen is frozen, Josh? I assume that's not true for viewers.
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. I'll fix that.
Yeah, I had a really weird. There's a really weird one locally. Oh, thanks, man. There's a really weird one locally from Black Raven called Kitty Cat Blues.
Okay.
And so it has blueberry. Like, I really like Black Raven generally.
Yeah.
It has blueberry, but it also has catnip.
What?
I don't know why. It is disgusting. Like, I really, really like their stuff, but
That's a little.
catnip is
that's
a
little
bad
excessive.
taste.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes when you roll around to Halloween. Look at this
Look
color.
at how colorful that is right now.
But it's like you start getting into Halloween and everybody's like, oh, we'll just put nutmeg in the beer. Yay.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, that tastes like poison.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Thank you for the
put,
catnip.
Let's put a bunch more of that shit in my mouth. Ugh.
Oh.
No, if it was like mint, it would be good, but there's this other after flavor there that is just like, it could be one of these things like Brussels sprouts or something. Maybe there's some compound in there that not everybody can taste.
Exactly.
Because it is gross.
I don't need any catnip in my beer.
Gross.
All right.
All right.
So there's a couple different kinds of malts, additive malts we can put in.
Yeah.
Remember how in Omin's beer we used caramel crystal?
Yes.
We could go back to that and derive a lot of the color from this.
Oh, but it would be sort of mid-range.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be super aggressive on the color side.
No.
Right?
But there's also Caramunic, which could blend well. It's not super dark. It's only a 56 SRM.
Yeah.
But what it does is it adds a caramel copper color to the beer and also that beautiful caramel taste.
Exactly. So that's specifically caramel. We're talking
caramel,
about, there's sweet, but then there's the specifically sort of like bulbous, like round sweet of a caramel candy type
Yeah,
taste.
because a Dunkelweizen is really supposed to have this sweet aftertaste, but also a little bit of toasty and a biscuity taste to it as well.
Yes, very much. It's like a cookie.
Yeah, you're eating a sweet cookie.
You're drinking
you're drinking a sweet cookie in your mouth.
Doesn't that sound good? Isn't that what you want?
That's Jim, right? in a
Exactly.
nutshell?
Exactly. Toasty cookie up front.
Yeah. So we can.
It's like what Jim thinks Jim is. It's not what
Right,
Jim
right,
actually is.
That's his conception of himself.
This is like Jim's self-esteem.
We're just building it up.
Beverage.
So those are two malts that we could use for that caramel effect.
For that right color.
Now let's check out some other ones. Another one would be, which is one I love, is called Victory Malt.
Victory malt? That
yeah.
sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh, but and the color on that, not...
It's not a heavy color. It's not for
gruesome.
coloring.
Yeah.
But what it does is it provides that really awesome biscuity taste to a beer.
Right.
So that might be one option we want to go down. One road we might want to go down.
So it's, when you say biscuity, it's like a dry sweet almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now let's talk about another type of malt.
Yeah.
Special B.
Special
Bros.
B?
Yeah. It's a Belgian malt.
Okay.
But
So we're getting in the right place geographically.
this is what you would use in a lot of your Belgian beers.
Yeah.
But it also extremely caramel.
Yeah.
like it says up there. This is going to give you a very, very intense caramel flavoring, which could be might be something you want.
But it has to be very much so. If you're not familiar with this, type of beer, right? You know, like specifically a lot of these German beers, like the sweetness in them, like is huge.
Yeah.
Like we don't really have the American beer space, I don't feel like has an analog
No.
to a run of the mill, like straight up the middle German beer.
Right.
Like when I was in the Hofbrauhaus and they're bringing out these like glass barrels of beer, and like over to my right there's like this pretzel humidor.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Germany, Josh?
No.
They have They have pretzel humidors, Josh. It's like a moisture-controlled, glass-lined closet
for
pretzels that are the size of a car. Like they're
That's
massive.
amazing.
But I'm saying that but they'll bring out this beer and it is mostly sweet. I mean, that's the main thing that comes across.
That's
is
amazing.
that it's just a delicious character, like a delicious syrup character.
Yeah.
To them in general.
We don't have much that's comparable. I mean,
we don't even have an entry in that space.
yeah, realistically, 40% of the craft beer market is dominated by IPAs right now.
Yeah, and so even if they're not trying to
Yeah.
hit that style and capture that market, they're still influenced by it.
Yeah.
Even down in the pales.
Yeah.
Right?
But speaking of not pale, look at the color of your wort right now.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's even crazier.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to Hotcakes or something and they have like the dark whiskey caramel.
But look at the change in color just over a couple minutes of draining that sugar off the grains.
Smells like $1 million.
Yep.
All right.
So special B could be another way we can go. So Josh, are we close to that?
Sort of.
Kind of, sort of. Here, you work on it.
Okay. So while Josh is working on that,
but it's true enough that this is a darker beer. Even if it's actually an IPA, it's visually, at any rate, it's a darker beer.
Yeah.
Let's turn it up. I mean, let's conceptualize a much lighter caramel color.
Absolutely, because if you look down here, remember the color, the SRM, the standard
exactly.
scale? It's only between a 14 and a 23.
Oh, geez.
So let's hope Pornhub doesn't come up. And SRM scale.
Oh, yeah, you want to show off that?
Yeah, we'll show off the
that
scale.
map again. Yeah. So with our chocolate malts, we're going way down
here. Yeah, we went to the bottom.
Quarter of a pound.
Yeah.
Of a darker malt, and this is the result.
Yeah. So if you can see, a Dunkel is between 14 and around 24. So we can be anywheres in this range.
And those are the traditions.
Those are the traditions. I mean, there's nothing saying we can't go way off the reservation.
Bonkersville. Right?
But like for me, I look at 23 and I say, oh, that reminds me of Jim's Cape. In a little, you know what I mean? It's
a velvet.
Yeah.
Right?
But this can be the stream's choice. So
exactly.
We can start working on that. And if you guys wanted to check out what the Pico Brew site looks like,
the back end.
Yeah.
So you actually went through and put all the info in, right? You went in there, here's all the malts that you added, and then here's the hops.
Yep.
And so then temp, time,
yep.
all this information that you put into the back end has created this kind of recipe. And of course, these recipes will all be made available to you.
Yeah. Yeah, we want you guys to try and brew this because I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it really is something. If you're watching the show and you enjoy it, again, like the subtext of the show is that it really is something that you can do as well.
Yeah.
This is coming to a party with like a pony keg of something that you made
really
at home
cool.
that is not gross. It has to also not be
not be gross. But the other flip side of that coin is most people are nice enough to tell you when it doesn't suck.
Because
it could suck and people would be like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever.
People's expectations about homebrew
the bar is very low.
It's very, very low.
But another thing that's really great is to have your own keg, brew your own beer, and then have an unkegging party and have all your friends over to kind of taste it.
Exactly. Like that's your it's your heroic arc.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like this is the hero's journey.
Yeah.
It starts with this amazing grain
Yeah.
process. And again, this is not a situation where it's not like a promotional stream for Pico, although I would definitely do that. We're learning how to use it too, and so you're going to learn a lot of it with us. But people have managed to make beer for a long time without Arduino solutions.
Yeah, I mean, most of us started on a plastic bucket, and then you upgrade to a glass carboy, which we can show you in a second. Now, me and my nerd, apocalypse heaven I have a steel fermenter at home.
Really?
They make steel fermenters now that you would see in a normal brewery for the home size.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know it had arrived there.
Yeah.
That's exquisite.
We're in a great place for home brewing.
No.
We are in a wonderful place.
The main thing, Here, so when you share the recipes, will homebrewers need to make any changes if we don't have the Pico?
No, you won't, because I will I'm going to put up a recipe we have the Pico recipe, but I'll also do a standard 5-gallon recipe that you can just straight up incorporate into your own homebrew system.
You can run the calculations any way you want to at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? S.A. Wellsbath, my suspicion is that you went and got a glass of beer. I don't think we need magic to explain this. But when it comes to cider, you can get pretty far just with the bucket, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the bucket is going to be most of the work for a cider.
Yeah, well, even regular beer, you can produce anything in just a plastic bucket. Like, you don't have to be we can be elitist as much as we want.
Yeah.
But for centuries, it's been done in a bucket.
Right. Or a bucket equivalent.
Yeah. So now we're in a golden age of brewing where we have all this awesome science.
It's just a really cool bucket.
Yeah. It's just a really cool bucket.
It's just a rad bucket.
Yeah.
Next level. This is a bucket, and this is how you know it's advanced. It's a bucket that has a bucket in it.
Yeah. It's like the turducken of buckets.
Oh, there we go. So it's actually going to drain. So we have reached the next phase of this. It has gone ham on the grains. It's now going to dump the wort right into the tank, and then it's going to refilter it back through the whole thing. And so as far as the questions go,
we'll continue to answer.
Inky is going to grab tons of these. And it's Alaskan Sun, it's a supreme bucket. Inky's going to grab all your questions. And then here at the end, we'll grab it and we'll go ham on it. Did that make sense, Josh?
All right, go ahead and add your 2 options again.
Okay, cool, man.
Chainsaw, a good beer for a beginner. If you have never brewed before, I would just say go to your local brew shop or Northern Brewer, get one of the starter sets, and a pale ale is a fine brew to beer for when you're starting out. IPAs are really good because the thing IPAs do is they mask bad malt builds. So
and you see this with coffee too.
Yeah.
Like people,
oh, really?
yeah, absolutely. People, like a lot of the roasting at the industrial scale is exactly the same thing. It's designed, like they're cranking the IBUs to cover up grain bill.
Huh.
And then it's the same thing with bad coffees, where they annihilate it and then say it's like Italian roast or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So our choices are crisp and lighter or sweet and dark.
Yep.
Okay. Here you go, Josh. Pourtois.
Yeah, you guys can start easily with
link.
extract brewing, and it's so simple. And then what you like all of us, you can graduate to all grain. I still do some extracts from time to time. There's nothing wrong with it.
To do for speed, basically.
You just pour, boil, and you're.
I mean,
you're
functionally
good.
speaking, right at a certain level, we're making extract.
Yeah,
that's what's happening right now.
That is exactly what's happening. Extract is this process cut out. You have all the sugars that you need, and
in a wheat syrup.
Yep.
You toss it into the boil.
Makes
you
the
stir
wort.
the fuck out of it. Right.
Doing all grain just gives you a lot more control over the flavors you're going to have.
Exactly.
But there's nothing wrong with using extracts. Breweries use extracts. Don't let anybody tell you that otherwise. Don't let anybody extract shame you. And if they do, come to me and I'll fight them all for you.
We will deal with this shit.
Yeah.
Okay? We'll deal with it. In any case, so we'll let this.
Wow, that's rad. Look at it. That's super cool how that comes up.
Oh, you haven't seen our.
I haven't seen
You haven't
that.
seen our PUBG show. Like, how fucking pro is this shit?
What?
This is Josh fucking Price
Amazing,
every
Josh.
day
This
delivering
is
the
so
hits.
cool.
No, it's exquisite. It's exquisite. Oh yeah, there we go. Clues is saying that they consider Jim Dark Magic to be more of a champagne. That's one of the things that
Light and bubbly. Ah, I like it. I like it.
That's one of the things that we can't 100% kick out. Probably.
No, we could. I mean, there's nothing saying we couldn't do one.
Might be tough, but for our Dunkelweizen,
Yeah.
we're sweet and dark.
The
really
French
is
might be mad if we called it champagne.
Really is the classic, right? God, it would be a great name for it. Velvet Cape. Like Jim Dark Magic's Dark Magic is what I was thinking of, but what about Velvet Cape as a beverage? It's like, it's a cape you can drink. I'm not sure if there's a market for that.
I don't know, but we'll find out.
But we'll figure it out. We got some motion in there. Crispin Lighter fans, jump in there. Get sick.
Sweet and dark. I love it.
Get crazy. I am 100% about getting some ciders up in this.
It's called Unicorn Piss.
Cider would be one of the cool ones for our elven characters, I think,
Yeah, I
too.
agree. I mean,
Like Morgaine, in my mind, I really did think Saison, which is that sort of spicy French style.
spicy but light,
But, yeah,
crisp.
oh, yes. Marvelous. But
Could do a cider for her.
But you could do a cider for one of them at least.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely. I mean, we have enough characters.
It comes from. What I'm saying is that it comes from a treat.
Yeah.
Like that's the key, right? That's on brand for elves.
Totally on brand.
On brand for elves.
We have Jim's magic missile for something that's above 10 ABV. Yeah, that might work.
Oh, there we go. The magic missile.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, hey, I feel confident that this poll is going to deliver.
Some sweet and dark.
It's going to deliver us some sweet and dark, ladies, gentlemen, and every conceivable point in between. I think that we have our winner.
All right, so we'll go with the Munich. If I can spell it. I love that there's Munich from Finland. Give me the German. Okay, so right now, with what we have, if you guys can look over, you can see what the color looks like now. Right now, we're only at a 7 SRM, so we can go a lot
Exactly.
darker
So,
with
and
this.
that scale, of course, starts low.
Yeah.
And then gets crazy pants, like 40, right?
Yeah, as we start to add our specialty our grains.
I have to
in
keep my hands off of this thing. Like I can't.
You're fond of
I
it.
love
Like,
it.
you're like,
No,
oh my
I
God.
am. Like I love it so much.
If you need some time, we can give it to you. You know, if you want to hug it, do whatever.
It's
do what you gotta do.
warm, but it's pulling all that sweet grain juice, and it's gonna put it in there, and then we're gonna put these creatures in there. It's gonna be exquisite. All right, here.
All right.
So let's go out.
So now let's talk about either do we want to do crystal malt or do we want to try out that Cara Munich?
Well,
so,
I mean, my feeling is that this has to be like sweet, in order for it to be like sort of in the congimuum, if you will. I feel strongly that, especially since we're going with this style, like it should just be sweet. Like it should be like a fun elixir,
okay, so then
like a potion.
that's going to probably be more crystal because that's going to give you a lot more sugar and a lot more flavor than the Cara Munich will. The Cara Munich's going to be a lot more, give you a darker, more intense caramel
Yeah,
flavor.
as we saw, just from the grains.
Yeah. So we can use, let's see, CR. To darken this thing up, we can use Crystal 120.
There we go. Okay, so we're not moving into the chocolate.
No.
Like it's not that type of dark.
No, it's not that type of dark. This is going to give us body. This is going to give us head retention. It's going to give us a little more of that caramel flavoring, but it's going to really darken up the beer.
Exactly, but not dark like War Priest dark.
No, check it out. So, like, let's say we do a pound of that. It brought us right.
Yeah,
it brought us right up to 22.
Exactly, and this is the key thing to note. So take a look at the dork term for this is the grain bill.
Yep.
Right. So take a look at this grain bill. So that is the color of it, right? Mm-hmm. But that is not, but that is not the flavor of it.
No.
So that is a, in the U.S., if you have a dark beer, it's a porter or a stout.
Right.
And that is not what's happening here.
No.
Like, this is grain syrup.
Yep.
Like, crazy flavor, mouthfeel, body, robust because of that malt spine. But the dark color on this does not imply anything about the flavor.
No, and a lot of the times when we talk to people about like, oh, I don't like dark beers, the first question I always ask is, was your first beer a Guinness? And
It means a specific thing.
People are always like, absolutely yes. And don't get me wrong, I love Guinness. I'm not arguing about if you like Guinness or not.
Yeah.
But Guinness is very much an acquired taste.
It's very specific.
And when you have it, people associate all dark beers with Guinness.
Exactly.
And it's not the case.
Sure. I mean, anything in that space, the porter, the stout, like those are the way they are in terms of their color because of the roasted malts in the mix. And that's where that's where that dark bitterness, the cocoa bitterness, right? That's where that stuff comes from. And that's not what we're talking about here at all.
No, not at all.
So if you're worried about that, don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit now about those two other specialty malts, the Victory and the Special B.
Yeah, I feel like somebody was talking about it in there. I feel like Jim would be very much like, if he heard about a grain called Victory, he would want to put it in there.
Yeah. So
right?
Victory is going to give us a biscuit flavor. Mm-hmm. A toasted malt and biscuity flavor.
Right. So it's Victory over
Special B, which is a Belgian malt that's going to give us some extreme caramel taste, which we could always add in a little bit of that too. But let's see what everybody wants to go with.
So extreme caramel, and I'm going to put several X's in there just to sort of imply the level of extremity.
Yeah, Vin Diesel,
like Vin Diesel
X.
tier.
Yeah.
Right. Ice Cube also
could be
a part of that secretive organization.
Right.
It's also called Special B, which you got
Durant.
You got to kind of like.
Do I use a wort chiller after your boil? And if so, how do you ensure you're not wasting water passage through it? So, yes, I've used all different kinds of chillers, but right now I use a plate chiller, which is this. And you can be assured when you use a plate chiller, this is the most efficient water use you're gonna get because it chills your wort down in literally 5 minutes. It's one pass through. It comes right out of the boil tank, right into your fermenter at 70 degrees. This is about $99. You can get the Therminator, which is rad. It's a little bigger, and that's $200, but I found that this works just as well. So it's your call, whatever you want to buy. And yes, Bondurant, you use a pump with this to get the wort cycling through it.
Absolutely. But as you see, oh man, it was neck and neck.
Look at that. Look at that. This is neck and neck.
And it keeps going back to 50-50.
What?
Oh, this is crazy pants.
This is so cool.
Yeah, I really like this.
I love this whole...
the stream aspect is kick-ass. Well, this is like your fantasy, right?
This is like my personal fantasy, to be building a beer with like so many people. So this is great.
It's cool beans. No, and that's filling in real nice.
Yeah. I'm super excited to see where they go with this because...
Right, and again, either of these cases, I mean, neither of these is very dark either.
Yeah, actually, the Special B is a little darker.
Really? But
yeah.
I mean, what kind of SRM are we talking about
About
here?
180.
Fellow beer dork.
Yeah.
180? Holy
180.
shit.
So it'll give that, because it adds that extreme caramel, but also that really, really dark color to it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then just to update you, playing along on the Beer Stream home game, if you pop over here to my precious device, target temp for the wort, which is what we're going to make the beer from. It's basically our wheat tea that we make. It's cranking up to 152 for the next phase. So it's going to come back through and wash those grains again at 152.
Yep. And we're kind of, if you want to nerd out about temperature,
Yeah.
the way we do this is a multi-step process. We're going to go up to 152, and it's going to sit there for a half an hour, then 154 for a half an hour. And what that's going to do is that temperature, that 154, is going to give us a medium-bodied beer. Whereas if we stay down in the 148 to 152
it's a little
range,
crisper.
it gives us a light body. And if we go up to 156 to 158, it gives us a full body beer.
Oh, it just has to do with what we're pulling out and then how it's being
and at the
processed at that heat.
and the temperature. Yeah. So that's how we will determine how your beer, the body of your beer tastes.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess it's on brand for Victory, obviously.
God, that was close though.
It was very close, but Victory came out on top.
Okay.
Makes perfect sense.
So let's throw in some Victory. Let's see what a pound of Victory does.
Oh yeah.
Our
ABV.
ABV.
It got beautiful. Here, let Josh get back behind there. Oh, are you setting up the Pico cam?
Oh, nice. I love it.
Nice. Okay, now you guys will be able to see it close in. Do you want me to move the carboy?
That's fine.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so this color again, don't in the same way that people are often exhorted not to fear the Reaper.
Yeah.
Don't fear this color because it doesn't mean what it means in the classic continuum of at least American beer.
Right. So now let's talk about what do we want our ABV on this to be. We know the standard Dunkel is between 4.3 to about 5.5.
Well, see, okay, that explains why they're so sweet then.
Right.
Because a lot of the rest of that sugar from the malt is just there. It's just hanging around. It hasn't been chewed on.
Yeah, and it's not a thick. It's a sessionable beer. It's not gonna knock you over after you have one of them.
And I feel like that's appropriate for Jim as well.
Okay.
It's also true for Mike Krahulik
In general?
himself. It's like he might have one fuzzy navel a year,
Right.
and he becomes a goofball
It's giddy.
instantaneously.
I love it. So let's decrease the Munich malt a little. And that's going to bring us down. We're at about 5.8. We're at 5.6.
Oh man!
So I think
I
that's
love this color though.
I love the color.
I love this color.
Do we want to turn the color up? Do we want to make it a little darker, or do we want to keep it?
I like it right where it is. I feel like we shouldn't mess around with the darkness too much. Let's try to build a full range of products.
I love it.
Here on Acquisitions Int.
I love it. So this is coming in at about 17, 18 SRM right now, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, right in the middle there.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle of the scale.
I mean, I can't actually wait to drink this beer. So let's talk about the hops that we can add into
this is something that I don't know because when I drink a beer that's in this style, it isn't like an American Pale or an IPA. Like, I don't even know where the hops are in it.
The hops are usually, in this style, the hops are usually there just to bitter the malt.
Because otherwise it'd be too much. Like it's there to contend with them on the palate, right?
You're just trying to bitter the malt up a little. You're not trying to make an IPA where you're blown away by the flavor of the hops.
Right.
You know, that's not the point of beer.
Exactly.
The point is to have to taste that sweetness, to taste the malty, toasty, biscuity flavor that we're generating.
Yeah, they're very comfort.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's it's a very like chill out.
Right.
Positive experiences, like talk to people
deck.
I don't know on a bench type beverage. Right?
In the park, hey, I've got this Dunkelweizen.
It's like the whole beer garden continuum.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? It's like you're supposed to be with people you don't know when you're drinking.
Yeah, that's why you're at a giant
Why
table.
would it be any other way?
Yeah. So let's talk about two hops that we can add. One is Tettnang. This is a German hop. This is going to be very light in taste, but it's as it says there, it has a very pleasant aroma.
Hold on, it's also called Super Styrian?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why not, right?
I'm sure you're right.
The other one we can use is a favorite of ours so far.
Oh, it's very much in the it's the right genre.
It's just actual Hallertau, the original.
The classic.
And I love this because it gives a little bit of a spicy flavor. It's going to give it's clean. It's not it's not going to overwhelm you.
Exactly.
With hop.
For the same reasons that we wanted it in here, we wanted it to contend with the grain bill.
Exactly.
But again, if you compare that to our Columbus, it's literally a third the alpha.
Yeah.
Which is like the crazy pants bittering stuff.
Exactly. So those are two that I would recommend to throw into here, and we can leave that up to the stream.
Absolutely. So here, so let's do. We want Hallertau. This is the classic, and it's basically German classic mild spice, right?
Yep.
And then the other one the other one you wanted to toss in there was which one?
Tettnang. It is Tettnang.
Okay, and how would you characterize that?
This is going to be a little more. It's a spicy. It's going to be. What's the? I can't remember the best way to describe this, but
Yeah.
let me find it. There we go. Let's see. Let's give a. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Spicy, peppery, and a little bit of black tea.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that
Oh,
could
that would be
that
perfect for the sweet.
Yeah, that could be really fun to play around with.
Man, against that backdrop.
Yeah.
Man, you can't do this. You can't approach this topic like without sounding like a real goofus.
Yeah.
It's important to surround yourself with people
Yeah.
that it's important to surround yourself with people that will tolerate you.
Yeah. Right. Right. Like, man, we could just nerd out about this all day. But
Well, you know what though?
it's so much fun. Like, there's so
think we
many
should-
aspects to it.
I think we should just maintain the nerd aspect.
Yeah. Hallertau is going to be, guys. Hallertau is going to be a little bit more earthy in its flavor,
Dank.
dank, if you will. And like we said, with the Tettnang, it's going to be spicy, pepper, and black tea. Both are really, really. Either way, they're going to lend well to this beer.
Oh yeah. The reality is that you, as the consumer, literally cannot lose.
Yeah, yeah.
Cannot
you
lose.
You cannot lose.
Oh, Josh, you're kicking up the Pico Cam.
What? That looks so cool.
Oh, but check the color down here now. Stream, it's getting a little nuts.
See how dark that is?
It's getting a little nuts on the War Priest over
Guys,
here.
this beer is going to be so good.
Yep.
It's already fermenting at my house, and you can smell it coming out of the airlock, and which we'll show you in a little bit. And it just the florals coming off are just absolutely wonderful.
Floral. Okay, so it was retained in the final product. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, but again, that's another deceptively dark beer.
Very much.
It's dark only because of the specific additions and not even that much.
Right.
It's just a high SRM grain.
Yeah, and you're not going to get. It's not going to taste like a stout. It's going to taste like an IPA.
Yeah.
With a little bit of more roasty flavor to it.
Exactly.
Not much.
Just a little bit extra in the back. A little more scaffold.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Oh, I like this. It's still neck and neck.
Yeah, it's neck and neck, but I do like where they're going with the spicy pepper black tea. Like that is going to be a novel.
I think that's neat. I think
a
that's
novel
cool way to-
beverage.
Yeah.
Right? So here, I'll let that go for a little bit longer. It looks like the Tet is coming out on top of this bad boy. Grab a couple more. Yep, I think Tet's running away with it now.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
They sent you the questions, FYI.
Oh, killer.
Oh really? That's
Killer.
awesome.
Perfect timing. So
Does it come like right up?
Oh no, he sent it to me in the email. I'll just grab them.
Very cool.
So there you go. So we're looking for that. We're looking for that Tet.
So
throw that in there, and then Jim Dark Magic's Dark Magic.
Tettnang, we'll do an ounce here. Oh, that's a little high.
Now, the very important question. So is it the same URL for each poll, Josh?
Yeah.
Oh man, that must be so easy for you on the back end.
Oh yeah.
Jim Dark Magic's Dark Magic, or Jim Dark Magic's Velvet Cape.
Oh, good call.
So let us know. We got the recipe here in the mix. We got a whole lot of sweet, some bittering agents with spicy pepper and some black tea tannins.
So where do we want our IBUs to go on this one? We have
In terms of the vigor.
how bitter.
Now, again, the classic stuff. How bitter.
So-
My suspicion is not too crazy.
no. So on average, it's between 10 and 18 IBUs.
You mean for that dunkel?
for the Dunkel style?
Okay.
So
I say, why mess with tradition on this?
yeah. So do you want to cut it right down the middle and say 15?
Yeah. Let's mix something that that can obviously can stand on its own. It has a unique mix of like the malt mix is really novel.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really neat, and thank you, Stream, for helping out with
Oh,
that.
absolutely, man. It looks like
Wow,
like Velvet Cape running away with the game.
Whoa!
God damn. All right, so. But I like what I'm seeing here. In terms of that, like I don't feel like we innovate there. I feel like we make a great sessionable dunkel that is the result of a collaboration between us and the stream.
Yeah.
We put that we'll try to put that son of a bitch together next week.
Yeah. We'll get the grains and we'll get it right out. And now,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Jim Dark Magic would need to stuff the ballot box at this point.
no, right?
To come out on top of the Velvet Cape, which I think is an incredible name for a beverage.
Yeah.
I should see if I can get Mike to do like
a label?
We might have a good piece of.
That's cool.
Can you imagine a label that came down but actually had the cutout on the side so that part of the label just kind of came around the side with the cape?
Like a cape?
You could like turn the bottle. All right, hey, so Josh, if you want to toss it back over here, fluid arm is moving. We are now doing water's coming back through, and then it's going to start integrating the hops one at a time
Love it.
in the back. So
Oh no! This is still the.
What's one more mash?
This is the mash process.
Yeah.
We're in the first mash.
of the hotter temp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go to the second mash, which will be at 152 or 154, and then we have what's called a mash out.
Yeah.
A mash out is going to bring it up to about 175.
Oh, so another jump temp-wise.
Yes, and what that does is it stops the satrification process of all of the sugars coming out.
Yeah.
That temperature stops all of the chemical processes, and then we drain all of the wort and sugar off of the grains and put it into the fermenter or the boil kettle for the boil process.
Exactly.
And that's where the
Then when we start hopping.
Yep.
Exactly. But so this is similar to what you would do at home, except at these different time junctures, you'd be manually controlling the temp, and then you'd be manually adding hop plates
Exactly.
at specific times during the boil.
This just automatically does it all for you.
I think we have a name.
Velvet Cape. Okay. Now the last thing we can look at is what yeast we're going to use.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
yeast-
okay. No, this is
yeast
something I don't know.
Helps with flavors.
Oh, definitely.
Now we know.
so are these going to be Bavarian yeasts, or
we can do some Bavarians. We can use a Belgian wheat. I mean, there's a lot of different. I mean, we can get crazy.
Well, here,
right?
hook me up.
So let's talk about what we know about Dunkels is that they have specific taste. They're sweet. They taste like banana.
Yeah.
They have some of those flavors in them. Now the Bavarian wheat. This will give us that bubblegum, banana flavors, apple. It'll give us a stronger malty characteristic. So we would use the Bavarian wheat, or let's take a look at what the Belgian wheat is like. That's going to give us more plum and apple with a drier finish. So those would be two different, very opposing finishes. One's going to be malty and sweet, which was
Exactly.
the first one, where the other one's going to be a little drier and taste more like plum and apple.
exactly. But I mean, but all that is coming out of that micro war that we create in the fermentation
Yeah.
tank every time we make a batch.
Exactly. So, I just think this is where there's so many.
Because again, in each case, like this is why I was curious about the black tea.
Yeah.
Right. In each of these cases, we're determining some really, really fundamental things about it, but they're all in the same taste. So when you start adding this last phase, because of those sugars in there, when the yeast hits it and there's a lot left over,
Yeah.
like that sugar inflects all of those like the fruit tastes.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's fascinating for me about brewing beer is every step of this process is going to alter that flavor
Right.
all the way to the end.
Yeah, that is a neat mix, I think.
Interesting. You guys are going with the Belgian so far.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like that is, to my mind, that's a novel twist there
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Right.
Because the Bavarian is the more traditional.
Definitely.
The Bavarian is going to give us that malty banana apple flavor that we usually derive from Dunkelweissens. But if we want to get crazy, we can try a Belgian and we'll get this
exactly.
plum
And it should be. I mean, it should be a little. I mean, as Jim.
Yeah.
Like there should be something. There should be an odd.
twist.
Well, there should be an odd note
Yeah.
somewhere in that mix, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes. Oh, you had the cam on there. I was hoping that I'd be able to sort of interact with it a little bit, like in a private way.
Yeah.
But I see my hand is there.
This is getting a
just
little
caressing the
I need
grains.
to move over a little. This is getting a little.
Everyone
No, it is getting hot. It is heating up over there, my friend. Well, hey, I mean, that's probably today's episode, is my guess.
It looks like we got Belgian wheat.
No, it looks like Belgian is coming out on top. So, Mr. Benson, here at long last, can you edit the name in there and tell the precious stream the full mix, the full bill of ingredients?
What did the name come up with? Jim Dark Magic's
Velvet Cape.
Velvet Cape.
Well, here,
All right.
Here, listen, Talp, I can give you this. Can you put it back on the? Can you put it back on the Pico? The camera-wise. No, I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. All right, is that what you're looking for? All right, good. I'm glad. Smacktastic, we are absolutely making beer today, and we have the Smack packs to prove it. Now, at the beginning of the show, I went crazy on these packs.
Yeah.
And they started to fizz in there. A little bit less fizz now. But these packs are actually taut. Now, they are taut to the touch.
Yeah. They swell. They get swole.
Yeah, too taut. Right? So basically, when this process is over, these tiny gentlemen will be ready to go to work there in the fermenter.
Yep. So we have Jim Dark Magic's Velvet Cape.
Velvet Cape.
Boosh.
What do we got?
4 pounds of wheat malt because it's derived from that
Exactly.
wheat beer.
Classic style.
Classic style. We have 1 pound of Munich malt. So our base malts are a little bit around. They're around 77%, which is really where we want to be.
Yeah.
Our secondary malts, which is the Victory, which is going to give us that biscuity flavor. That's about 1 pound. And we have 1/2 pound of Crystal 120, which is giving us that really
The caramel color and taste.
Yeah. And then we have the Tetnag at 1/2 ounce and a quarter at 60 minutes, and then 1/4 ounce at 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. So you're basically going to come in back at the end of it for the aroma.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little touch.
It's a single hop. So unlike the other one where we had a couple different ones, this is using one, but using it in different ways at different points of the boil.
Exactly.
Exquisite.
And that's Jim Dark Magic's Velvet Cake.
That's Jim Dark Magic's Velvet Cake. Hey, thanks so much for rolling through the channel. I am.
Jerry?
What?
You can add to the questions.
Oh yeah, the questions.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I was thinking we would just jump out, but I've got questions for days, and I'll just run these to you, okay?
Yeah.
This is from Balathustrius.
Yeah.
I am always telling my friends someone should make a lightning bolt liquor to oppose Fireball. What say you?
A lightning bolt liquor?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
If you have the Fireball, like the
I
cinnamon
agree.
beverage,
Yeah.
what would you do for lightning bolt?
lightning bolt, it would be like a.
Vanilla.
You think?
Yeah. I think lightning bolt would be like a rich vanilla, like a French vanilla
bean?
color.
Yeah. I think that nailed it.
Yep. Now, can you brew ciders in the Pico? You probably wouldn't.
You probably wouldn't. I haven't really broached the subject or even thought about it.
But it's also not required.
No. Ciders are amazingly easy to brew. You really just need the pale stuff. So do not worry about that.
No, and in fact, later in the series,
We'll show you how to do it.
We'll choose a character, and then we will do a cider for them that's got some cool twists. Bob the Ninja Goldfish wants to know if Plate Chiller is the sequel to Flash Hider. a Dan German movie? I don't think so. I don't think so. Erica the Mad wanted to know what you were drinking. I think we got to this before.
Yeah, we
This
did,
is
yep.
Fremont's Lush, which is, I think, a really neat sort of hinge for them as a brewery. Like, it's an IPA that stands out in a town that's known for IPAs.
Right.
A lot of these have gone through this, but Erica also wants to know where you got your tap water tested. It's a home kit, right?
Oh yeah, it's a home. Yeah, there's a home kit you can buy. You can actually go to your local water department and get the reading from them.
Oh,
most of the
interesting.
time. But there are home kits where you just you can take it and you can send it out and get it tested.
Exactly. And so,
Google it.
Feistus, I hope that we were able to satisfy your curiosity vis-a-vis the color. We're looking at a rich, dark caramel, but nothing crazy pants like the old War Priest here. If we start crisp and light, could we darken it? As you saw in the process, you know, those base malts that are sort of characteristic of the style, there's a lot of ways that you can fine-tune the color.
Right.
Just on the SRM, that color scale we talked about, and then the amount of it.
Yep.
Just for the last time, you know, if I look in here, it's a very, very small percentage of this grain bill that actually has the dark chocolate color. But look at the result. It's spooky pants.
Yeah, there is. You can always start light and go dark, and then you can always remove grains to go back light again.
Nice. Janarin, you love the idea. Mind if you mock up some Ack Inc. themed beer bottles? Absolutely not. You know, much like the C Team, you know, we really want the show to be a collaboration with you. That's sort of what the polls are about. If you want to approach, you know, some of these beverages artistically, have at it. We'd love to feature those on the show. Sam Hotep, this is from Kit Renard, 630. They suggest an AFL beer called Alefel. How about some kind of sour ale since it's acidic? Now that is smart.
That's smart. We could do that. Sours are brutal to make.
Are they challenging?
No, they're not challenging. They're just nasty to make.
Because it's wild yeast.
It's wild yeast that's gone, you know, essentially that gets infected. It gives you that sour taste.
That odd taste.
I remember my buddy owned a brewery and he was aging his sour beers in oak barrels, and it came out fantastic. But if you went back and saw it, it was surrounded by thousands of fruit flies that would just leach onto the barrel. It reminded me of who was the kid in Charlie Brown that always had the dirt cloud around him? The dust cloud of dirt, right? Anybody know? Anyways,
yeah.
It essentially looked like that, like a giant dust cloud. Pigpen, that was it.
Yeah. It was just like gross outside the barrel?
Yeah, because it was just thousands and thousands of these fruit flies.
Oh, they just loved what they were seeing in there.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we could easily do a sour. I know on the East Coast right now, sours are the biggest thing.
It's just the trend?
Yeah, it's just the trend over there.
Yeah. Well, here, Mark W. 2004 says, how about using nitro instead of CO2 for a smooth finish?
Excellent idea. I personally love beers on nitro.
Me too.
We go to the Jolly Roger and
like
they
nitro,
always
like
have a nitro cast. Yeah.
I mean, and these are basically what we're talking about in this. Is so if you've had a Guinness, that sort of creamy mouthfeel, that's the result of being force pressurized through that.
Especially for the Dunkelweizen, to have that sweet on nitro.
Yeah, because it gives you a creamy, like the texture of it becomes creamy because the bubbles are smaller.
Yeah, I'm already salivating. That was a fantastic question and idea.
It is. Hey, Mr. Cranman wants to know the first style of beer you ever made that you liked, that you were pleased with.
Oh God, that's a really cool question. And it's been 15 years of brewing. And trying to remember back, it was in college, and I literally started. I think that might be my original.
This might be
ale
your
pale
bucket. Yeah.
From college, and I want to say I really think it was an IPA, just because, you know, it was there and it was easy to make.
Yeah.
But I want to say it was an IPA, and it was extract.
Yeah.
And it was the old extract.
Titration type thing?
No, because you can get dry extract. It was a wet extract. It was God, what's it called? The
thingamajig?
I haven't used extract in so long.
Oh, yeah.
It's the fluid extract version.
Yeah.
and it came out wonderful, and that just got me hooked on brewing beer.
Yeah, the first one for me was a Belgian ale that was like 9 or 10%.
Nice.
That came to be known as Yellow Jacket for its gruesome behavior. Richter SR wants to know how long the War Priest is going to sit before consuming. So right now, it's bubbling away. You actually sent me a video. I mean, like a proud father.
Yeah.
You sent me a video of your fermentation tank bubbling away with the War Priest in there.
Right. So the way fermentation works is once we're done boiling, we'll take a reading called an original gravity reading. And if you looked, we're looking right now, War Priest's estimated original gravity is going to be about 1.055. Now what we'll do is we're going to put that in a test tube and then put a hydrometer in there and drop it in.
Right.
And that's going to measure that. And hopefully we're going to come close to 1.055. Now, usually about the first week of fermenting is called primary fermentation. That's when most of the activity is happening.
Right.
And then most of the yeast will drop out of suspension and stop metabolizing the sugars. Through that process, then we will take the yeast or the beer off of the trub, which is
withdraw it with a pump.
Yeah, with a pump, off of this, all the garbage that's come off of the yeast and dropped out of suspension, and we'll put it into a new fermenter, a cleaner one. And we will ferment it for probably another week or two in there. But as we go along, we'll take readings and we'll see that gravity reading go down to its terminal gravity.
Yeah, so terminal in this case meaning the operation of the yeast has ceased.
Yeah, and we'll probably get down to about 1.022 in that range, and that's what we're looking for. But we know the beer's done when we don't see it, that gravity moving too much.
Exactly.
And you can age it for as long as you want, but for our purposes, it'll probably be 2 to 3 weeks.
Absolutely. I know it's a different process. This is from Sam Hotep, but would you ever explore a lambic for one of the characters?
Shit, yeah.
I've never made one, but a lambic is basically like a juice beer.
Yeah, it's fruit beer.
Right.
My favorite, there's an old bar we used to go to in Albany called Mahar's, and it was my home bar.
Yeah.
And they always had a lambic on tap, and
they're delicious.
There was a raspberry lambic.
Exactly, but again, that's in that Belgian context.
Yep.
So all those fruit, like the tastes that I was describing, like all those fruit tastes when combined with that juicy base are just out of this world.
Yep. Chainsaw, Old Rasputin, amazing beer. It's
the darkest stout I know about.
Yeah, and I was actually talking with Holly Conrad. Wait a minute. Brianish, Mahar's, you know Mahar's? Are you kidding me?
See, Brianish is down?
What? Yeah, well loved. It's gone. It's in our memories.
Oh, is it gone?
Yeah, it's gone. There were some complications with the lease and everything.
Yeah.
Brianish, I am so happy. This is my... I'll talk to you about Mahar's later.
Yeah, please do. Please do. I mean, next time when we're brewing, it might be worth just going into some just like memories of these places. A crab beer, Whitefire, it might be nice. I mean, I would withdraw some of a beer and then take some of it out and then make a crab version. Make a couple crab bottles.
Yeah.
But I don't want to crabify 3 gallons.
We can try. Hey, listen, we can brew beer we can crabify it all we want. But the Old Rasputin, I was talking to Holly Conrad earlier this week, and
I love Holly Conrad.
She loves Old Rasputin.
Oh,
so
yeah.
maybe if we do a Strix beer, it could be something in that range.
Oh yes, we should approach Strix. I mean, and also we should also talk to Chris Perkins and talk to the Waffle crew.
Yeah.
And just like we could once we start plowing through Ack Inc.
Oh yeah, we could go.
Ack Inc. Why not move it toward a broader approach?
Yeah.
Right. Bring in the Waffle crew.
Yep.
We could talk to Mercer.
Yep.
See what he wants to do for some of his characters.
Absolutely.
Down there on the Critical Role. Oh, here. So Ulysses wants to know, I have to ask, when we make walnuts beer, will it be possible to make a liquid that tastes emotionally vulnerable?
Wait, doesn't all alcohol make you emotionally vulnerable?
Yeah. I was going to say.
I feel like that's alcohol, right?
I feel like that one. I feel like that pops out. Hey, Erica the Mad has another question. We've already got War Priest fermenting at home. Is this one on camera a second batch? It is. This is a second batch.
Yeah.
And because we wanted to show you the whole process, but
Yeah.
because Eric is highly conscientious, he wanted to run the entire process through a test batch, just so that when it came time to show you that it was all, we knew that it was on the up and up and it was functional. And you also wanted to test your chiller and shit like that. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, that's all the questions I have in here. I feel like this show is a lot of fun.
God, and I love this.
I can't wait to do another episode next week. Starts about noon.
We will be brewing the Jim Dark Magic's Velvet Cape.
Yes, indeed. Next week, Jim Dark Magic's Velvet Cape. We'll start the process, and by then, it looks like we'll be about halfway through on War Priest. Still trying to figure out exactly the best way to bring a few of you from the stream in. We had a garage sale recently, and it was functionally speaking a kind of Twitch channel meetup without any planning of any kind. So it seems like there's a few of you that are local here, and we should definitely 100% try to take advantage of it, because as I said, I mean, that really, sharing it really is the best part of the process at the end. So, like I say, Precious Channel, thank you so much for rolling through.